Sophia felt the weight of every stare in the luxurious first-class cabin freeze in place when the flight attendant suddenly blocked her way. "Ma'am, I believe there's been a mistake," the attendant stated firmly. "This section is reserved for first-class passengers only." The word struck Sophia like a slap. The piercing gazes of the wealthy travelers around her felt like daggers, cutting into her dignity as her legitimate ticket was questioned right before their eyes. No one in that cabin, none of the elegantly dressed elites, nor the smug businessman clutching his newspaper, could have guessed that within moments, Eduardo Vasquez himself, billionaire, devoted husband, and the majority owner of this very airline, would step through that door. And when he did, the entire power dynamic of this cabin, filled with hasty judgments, would shift in an instant. Sophia Mendez instinctively adjusted the watch on her wrist, a cherished gift from Eduardo, one that always reminded her of the day their paths first crossed. At 35, her understated yet graceful dress stood in stark contrast to the glittering jewelry and designer ensembles flaunted by those around her in the priority boarding area. She had never been one to seek out luxury, even though she was married to one of the wealthiest men in the country. The first-class cabin of Stellar Airways radiated opulence, spacious leather seats, flight attendants groomed to perfection, and the delicate aroma of freshly poured champagne filling the air. Eduardo had insisted she take this flight alone, as a reward for organizing a highly successful charity event. "You deserve all the luxury in the world," he had whispered before rushing off to an urgent business meeting. He had promised to meet her at the resort just a few hours later. Taking a steadying breath, Sophia presented her first-class ticket at the gate. This was supposed to be a rare moment for her to embrace the indulgence she usually shied away from. Yet, just as she stepped forward, she was halted. "I'm sorry, but this area is reserved for first-class passengers only," Camila Reynolds, the head flight attendant, declared, her scrutinizing gaze sweeping over Sophia's simple attire. Her voice, clipped and cold, sliced through the air with an unmistakable undertone of condescension. Standing tall and exuding authority, Camila had her blonde hair pulled into a severe bun, her navy uniform adorned with gold stripes that she seemed to wear as emblems of superiority rather than service. "I have a first-class ticket," Sophia replied evenly, holding out her boarding pass. Camila accepted it with the tips of her manicured fingers, as if it carried some kind of contamination. Her meticulously polished nails caught the light as she inspected the ticket, her lips pressing into a thin line of exaggerated skepticism. There seems to be an issue," Camila mused, raising a perfectly arched brow. "Perhaps you were mistakenly assigned to the wrong section." She deliberately turned the ticket over, examining it with unnecessary theatrics. A man in an expensive suit lowered his financial newspaper, his gold cufflinks glinting as he peered over his reading glasses. "Happens all the time," he muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Economy class is getting way too crowded these days." A murmur spread through the cabin. Some passengers smirked, while others exchanged quick glances, their curiosity barely concealed. A couple, dressed in matching designer outfits, whispered to each other, their eyes darting between Sophia and her modest clothing. Camila's lips curled into a saccharine smile. "Let me check if there's a seat available for you in the back of the plane," she said, her voice dripping with false politeness. "I'm sure you'll be much more comfortable there." The emphasis on comfortable made it painfully clear she believed Sophia didn't belong. A warm flush crept up Sophia's neck, but she held her ground. "Please check again. My husband personally booked this seat for me." Her voice was steady, unwavering. Years of professional training as a flight attendant herself had taught her to maintain composure under pressure. "Your husband?" A woman adorned with an enormous diamond necklace let out a soft chuckle, the condescension thick in her voice. "Oh, darling, everyone says that when they want an upgrade. Let me guess, he's a CEO or something equally imaginative." Light laughter rippled through the cabin, blending with the rustling of newspapers and the clinking of champagne glasses. Camila exchanged a knowing glance with a fellow crew member, both of them suppressing their amusement. Sophia's fingers instinctively brushed against her watch, the one Eduardo had given her on the day they met. Back then, she had been a flight attendant herself, navigating the same kind of judgments she was facing now. The cool metal against her skin grounded her, reminding her of who she was, of the strength she carried within her. A businessman tapped impatiently on his armrest. "Some of us have meetings to get to," he grumbled. "Can we move this along?" Camila straightened, adjusting her already flawless posture. "Please wait here while I sort out this misunderstanding," she said, offering a rehearsed smile. But she had no idea. Within moments, that very misunderstanding would unravel in a way no one in this cabin could have ever predicted. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one, and make sure you'll always be notified when we post new videos. Your thoughts matter to us, so drop a comment below and tell us where in the world you're watching from. Glow showing Europe, Africa. Until next time, get ready for another story that will challenge your perceptions and remind you of the incredible power of treating everyone